with Mercedes Moné responding to a claim regarding her pay in AEW and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Giving a status update on AEW star Parker Boudreaux, Ringside News wrote that on March 16th during a AAA event, Boudreaux made waves with a notable debut, instigating an attack on Octagon Jr. and Mecha Wolf. However, the assault was cut short by the intervention of El Messias. Inquiries regarding Boudreaux's AEW status post his AAA appearance revealed to Ringside News that he remains firmly associated with the promotion, dispelling any notions of departure. Previously, Ringside News had exclusively reported Boudreaux's presence at the AEW Homecoming show, though he was not featured. Asked about Martha Hart allowing WWE to potentially induct her late husband Owen Hart into the Hall of Fame, Jim Ross noted on his Grilling JR podcast, "I bet she could change her stance. Will she is another question. Maybe the bigger question is, will she? I don't know. I hadn't thought of that. It's a good question. It's why these Q&As are so entertaining sometimes. You get questions that you don't expect. So I don't know. Good question, though. Good question. Time will tell. I can see it being able to be worked out a lot easier now that Vince McMahon is out of the picture. That was her roadblock, so we'll see. Put it this way, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, but I don't have any information to change my philosophy of that. I think with him gone, it increases the chances of Owen going into the Hall of Fame. God knows he's deserving. That's never been an issue, but if Martha likes it and feels good about it, then comfort zone, then why not? I think it's great. She's such a pleasure to work with. She's not angry at pro wrestling anymore, it doesn't seem to me like. I mean, she's heartbroken with how things happened to Owen like they did, and as we all are and have been. But I don't know. It's interesting, Connie. It's a good question. Interesting, but I'd say that the odds of Owen being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame have increased immensely since Vince McMahon resigned this post. Bringing up The Rock's concert segment from Smackdown, Sean Ross Sapp Fightful had said The Rock's concert was only scheduled for one segment, but those backstage told us, of course, they knew it would go longer. Former WWE writer and member of The Rock's personal creative team, Brian Gewirtz, responded to this on X, writing, "The segment went 30 seconds under its allotted 20 minutes. Speaking about the Young Bucks and their recent heel run in AEW, Conan noted on his Keeping It 100 podcast, "I like the Bucks personally, professionally, very easy to deal with them. Very creative guys. I think because I haven't talked to them in a while, I think that when they were there with CM Punk, there was a lot of tension, and they were kind of like maybe tuned out while he was still there and wasn't really doing anything good, because I've seen them on BTE doing a lot of funny stuff. And then his heels, going around with the white suits with the blood on it, I thought that was whack. Some of the stuff they've done, like, oh, we're going to suspend Hangman Page. All right, big deal. He's a heel. Why should anybody get mad at that? I don't know, bro. They just don't seem into whatever they're doing. They don't seem to be interested, and they should be, because Punk isn't there anymore." Recalling the reaction that the Nature Boy Ric Flair had to his first match as an official AEW roster member, Will Ospreay said this on Talk Is Jericho. He came backstage. "My ass was killing me. I came back and I planted myself down and I was crying. He went, 'Mr. Ospreay,' and he took my hand. I looked up and it was Rick. He stood up and I was like, 'Yes, sir.' He was like, 'You are everything I've heard of and more. You're the best guy here right now.'" Going over his recent encounter with Hangman Page at AEW's Full Gear event, Swerve Strickland told Sean Ross Sapp Fightful he was so infuriated with rage that he's going as far as to drink my blood and spit it out in the air because he wants a part of me. He wants me like you're not going to forget this. It's almost violating another man. Since I violated his home, he's violating me. I was like, this is a lot of blood. A lot of blood. That's all I was really thinking about. Like, this is a whole lot of blood and I still have to run and move move and fight, and hopefully I can see, because I could barely even see because it was just so much. I never bled that much in my life. It is easy to go into shock and like I have anxiety because you're not supposed to witness your blood like leaving your body so much. It's not supposed to fountain out. I was just like, okay, stay calm. You're okay. Your breathing is good. You're not hyperventilating and you're not getting lightheaded. You're good. Then I go outside. Then pile driver on this barricade. I was like, okay, it's going. It's still going. It's still going. It won't stop going. So like water bottle, and that coagulated a little bit so that the blood just became sticky. My wristbands were full white, and then by the end of the match, it was red gauntlets because I just kept wiping my face. It was so bad. It got to a point where I just fell down on the mat and I wiped my face off because there was nothing else to wipe my face off of. It was a horrific, beautiful masterpiece. Swerve then said this regarding a potential AEW World title win. There's been this discussion about diversity in the company and in pro wrestling period all around. Every company, to have an African American man standing in the middle of that as a main event as champion is, I think that's huge, and I think that's my spot in history as well. Talking about the Bloodline and potentially adding members to the group, Jimmy Uso said this on the Battleground podcast. We the ones, we the Bloodline, whether we will be separated or not. We are just that good now, and people need to step up because we're going to keep running it and we're going to keep adding more. We're deep, like the Bloodline runs deep. We're going to keep doing it. The Bloodline brought the drama, brought the theatrics, whatever they call it. I feel like your boy was the heart of the Bloodline. They can add The Rock. They can add them all. It ain't going to be the Bloodline until Jey Uso is back. That's real talk. We are family at the end of the day. Some of your worst enemies might be your enemy, but at the end of the day, we are all still family. If you're out there, and I'm not going to name drop, but if y'all out there, like all of our family, like being like here, but at the end of the day, I felt like if we all come to the big leagues, the WWE, it's mind-blowing what could happen. At least almost 10 deep in there, let alone some big hitters. Man, the future's bright is all I'm going to say. The story keeps evolving. This might go on for another 3 years. Explaining why he was backstage at last week's episode of Monday Night Raw, former WWE star AJ Francis told Eric Bischoff on the Strictly Business podcast, "I was just backstage at Raw literally on Monday. I was in town for Bun B's Houston Rodeo. Bun B invited me to his show, so I pulled up because that's my OG. While I was at the rental car place, the guy who was giving me my car was a fan, and he said, 'Yo, Top Dollar, are you coming back tonight?' I was like, 'What the hell are you talking about?' He's like, 'Raw is in Houston.' I was like, 'What?' He's like, 'Yeah, Raw is in Houston.' So Raw just happened to be in Houston. I text Triple H. I said, 'Yo, I'm just trying to come back, see the guys. It's not that big a deal. I'm not out here trying to be like, yo, bring me back right now. I'm not doing that. I'm just trying to see the guys, right? That's all. All my friends, all my people I work with.' He set it up, and I was able to go backstage, and everybody that I saw, from Paul Heyman to Jey Uso to Triple H to Road Dogg to Becky Lynch to Cody Rhodes to Seth Rollins to Tommaso Ciampa to Finn Balor to Jinder Mahal to Drew McIntyre. Everybody that saw me, it was nothing but love. It was nothing but, I'm so happy for you. You're killing it." Touching on her health status following her ankle injury from May, AEW star Mercedes Mone said this to ESPN. "I love wrestling so much that I could not let the doctor tell me I won't wrestle again. I couldn't let them say that was going to happen. I didn't take no for an answer. And I pushed hard every single day, rehabbing, working out, getting my mind right, meditating, because again, I wasn't sure when I was going to come back. I just knew that I was going to come back someday." Previously, it was reported that Mercedes Mone might be the highest paid woman in professional wrestling, as Dave Meltzer noted on F4WOnline.com. One WWE Woman star noted to us that they were hearing that the number was enough to make her the highest paid woman in pro wrestling, and that they were thrilled at AEW for making the offer and happy for her to have accepted it, because in the long run, it means it's a better market for the top women wrestlers, noting, "I think it sets a standard that women should be paid paid too. The women do great numbers and have huge social followings. And also said that it was a huge deal for women in the industry who are paid a lot less than men. Mone told ESPN regarding this report, "I mean, I'm not Mercedes Mone for no reason," she said with a smirk. "Money changes everything. I'm always about that bag. Absolutely." Bringing up John Cena on a Twitch stream, former AEW World Champion Kenny Omega said, "No, I have not met Cena, but I think he's great professional wrestler. He's done an incredible amount for the business. I don't think anyone will be able to match anytime soon. The reason why is because Cena wasn't doing anything for the sake of an accomplishment or trophy or recognition. People went out of their way after the fact to say, look at all this stuff John is doing in his off time. Maybe he even laughs at himself, but for the amount of effort he has put in to make people's lives better, whether it be Make-A-Wish, fans at the arenas, or autograph signings, it's a great example for what the face of a company should be, or the face of the industry. I'm a very big proponent of John Cena. I think he's incredible." In a TikTok video, U.S. champion Logan Paul took a shot at both Randy Orton and Kevin Owens as he will be facing them in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 40. Randy Orton out of nowhere, "RKO is my business partner, so now I'm mad, that's assault brother. Then yesterday we had Randy Orton, I kissed him on the forehead, I was about to punch him in the face, in comes the human bowling ball, Kevin Owens. You might recognize Kevin Owens from my chamber drawing, the rotund stick figure I like to move and moving. But now I got these two dudes who I've separately pissed off that I'm in a triple threat match with, which is why I was freaking out last night. How is that fair? But regardless, 2-on-1, 3. I want 5. I don't care Logan Paul's not getting gangbanged." Asked about his pro wrestling philosophy, former WWE and current AEW star Malakai Black said this to Developmentally Speaking, "No, that's one of those things where I feel it's become very convoluted. I've heard this come out of people's mouths that have been wrestling for 7-8 years where I'm like, man, shut up. Wrestling needs emotion. Wrestling needs genuine interest, genuine love, and genuine anger. I feel like a lot of wrestling nowadays is based upon making. I don't mean this in an attacking way because this is a notion where I'm attacking athletic ability, because there are kids out there who can do things I'll never be able to do. Wrestling needs less Michael Bay and more thought-provoking methodology. You take guys like Gunther, who are insanely good. I don't think I've ever watched that man have a match that made me, he's so incredibly good. And that is in a modern setting. He knows how to draw emotion out, and that's why I've always been into character stuff and building stuff throughout these lenses of characters, because it allows an audience member to connect from an emotional level, whether you agree or not with what he says or not says, and leaving it up for you to decide. Touching on a possible heel turn for Cody Rhodes in the future, former WCW star Kevin Sullivan noted on his Tuesdays with the Taskmaster podcast he has used Dusty's trial and tribulations trying to grab the brass ring, that he's doing this for his father, and it really got the people behind him, and that's why when he actually turns heel after he wins this belt, he'll have nothing but white heat. Revealing the reason for his recent debut in AAA, All Elite Wrestling star Parker Boudreaux said this in an Instagram video to Lucha Libre Online. "I'm here to show the whole world that I'm the big guy, the most versatile young athlete / wrestler there is on the market right now, and I'm with AAA, one of my new homes. I can't wait to show the whole world what's up." Speaking about the potential role for Mercedes Mone in AEW, Tommy Dreamer said this on Busted Open Radio. "You don't want to be the workhorse of that division, you want to be special. How many times did you see Hulk Hogan on Superstars? He would come out and cut a promo, that's it, and then he'd leave. Then came the Attitude Era, when you had someone like Steve Austin. You will see Steve Austin 6 or 7 times on a show, and the fans couldn't get enough of him. Everybody talks about Roman Reigns, the streak, the record. We're all still going to a sold-out show to see what? Roman Reigns? It has made him special. She's upping to be the face of that women's division. I feel the main money will be with her and Toni Storm, but you can't get there right away. Explaining the process behind Fox censoring The Rock's promo on Smackdown, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, so the deal with the TV, what they had to do was Fox gets the script ahead of time so they know when to bleep. The Rock promo is completely scripted, but if it was anyone else, they would not be allowed to say it. With The Rock, it's like he can say whatever he wants, but we know what he's going to say and when he's going to say it. So anything that they want to bleep out, they will bleep out, and they know when to bleep it out because they know ahead of time. So that's kind of the gist of the promo and why certain things were bleeped out. Talking about his experience booking Shelton Benjamin, as there have been reported discussions between Benjamin and AEW, Jim Ross noted on his Grilling JR podcast, you get him a single run with somebody who could actually really wrestle and let him show his skills. Then you find a partner for him and let Shelton's experience help build a foundation for a tag team. I'm a big fan of Shelton Benjamin. When we recruited John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and Batista, the best athlete of that group was Shelton. Shelton's issue was personality, connecting with the audience. I love Shelton. A company guy, a team player, he came from a team environment, which is always important to me. I'm a big fan of his work and him as a man. He would help any locker room. I can just imagine what kind of mentor he would be to some of the kids, not just his color, not African American only, but young talent. Shelton's journey has been well documented, and I'm proud I got to hire him. He's a credit to the wrestling business, no question. Giving an update on Charlotte Flair, Ringside News wrote that Charlotte Flair has been out of action after suffering a knee injury during the December 8th, 2023 episode of Friday Night SmackDown, for which she got surgery. She was then advertised for an upcoming episode of SmackDown, and now we have more clarification on the matter. As noted earlier, advertisements for the upcoming March 29th episode of Friday Night SmackDown, scheduled to be held at the Mohegan Sun Arena, prominently featured Charlotte Flair. This made fans wonder whether she would actually appear on the show. Ringside News asked a source within WWE about Charlotte Flair being advertised for the show. We were informed that Flair is still out of action and currently not booked for the event. It's not uncommon for absent superstars to be advertised by a venue, as this aspect of promotion may not always be under the direct control of the company. Various factors could contribute to a superstar being advertised despite their absence from the event. Flair has shared that she is surpassing the expected timeline for her knee rehabilitation post-surgery. While she won't appear in the March 29th episode of Friday Night SmackDown, it is likely fans will see her back by the end of this year. After suffering another injury in February, Nikkita Lyons said this in a health update to Booker T and Brad Gilmore on the Hall of Fame podcast. It's been 2 months since my surgery, and honestly, I feel like these 2 months went pretty quick, at least for me, because run on the grind every day. But right now, I'm hoping by Halloween Havoc, I'm hoping that'll be a good time, but also I want to make sure it should be ready to go, but I don't want to say an exact, like it's gonna be here, because with injuries, it's kind of day by day. Going back to the out of sight, I'm gonna stay active. I'm not going anywhere. I ain't going nowhere. That's why I'm shoving myself in y'all's face. Y'all are not going to see this brick house blow down. That's where I'm at, and that's where I cross into my music and different forms of art that I can do, still talking to people, being involved, going to these community events and charity events like I ain't going nowhere. I'm just going to continue to improve in every other way I can until I can step in the squared circle again. Going over the status of Raquel Rodriguez in WWE, Ringside News wrote that in January, Rodriguez revealed that she had been diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome, MCAS, condition characterized by allergic symptoms such as hives, swelling, low blood pressure, difficulty breathing, and severe diarrhea. This diagnosis led to her absence from WWE TV as she focused on managing her health. Although she returned in February, her condition flared up again, causing concerns about her participation in the WWE Elimination Chamber Premium Live event in Perth, Western Australia. Fortunately, Rodriguez was able to compete in the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which was ultimately won by Becky Lynch. However, recent reports from PW Insider indicate that Rodriguez has been pulled from the active WWE roster. While the exact reason for her absence remains unclear, she is currently listed internally with other talents who are out of action. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.